kind of got a special list for you today with absolutely no spoilers. Let's get into it. All right, Russ, you just got back from Avengers Endgame, and I swear if you say one word, I'm going to be so mad. I'm going to make sure that there are no facial expressions in this video. I'm going to make sure that there are no spoilers. The courteous thing to do is to wait till after the weekend. So I'm going to make sure to cover any of the Avengers Endgame speculation books on today's Hot Comics List video. Courtesy of who, Russ?
CBSI, comicbookinvest.com. They bring us this list every single week, and we are able to get it to you hot off the presses on Friday.
That's right, Russ. You're going to want to hit that subscribe button because we do cover this list every single Friday. We get the list early just so we can make this video for the comic book community every week. So let's start this list off at number 10 with Exiles. Issue number 2, the 1 in 10 Rodriguez variant. Now, this features Tessa Thompson's first appearance as Valkyrie in comics. All right. And this particular version of Valkyrie is making a splash, particularly this variant comic book, because this once $1 to $2 bin book is now going for $30 strong.
Crazy.
This 1 in 10 variant is the clear choice for collectors, but there is that A cover that does feature her with that Wolverine cartoon version that I actually like a lot. And look out for the Wolverine cartoon variant version of this book. Last week, Exiles issue number 3, that Peggy Cap variant.
The Puzzle Quest variant. Yeah.
That's right. It was a really cool cover, and that sold all week. We actually have multiple issues from this run, all because of Endgame speculation. It looks like Valkyrie is definitely a character that survived the snap. We know that based off of pictures over this last year, but I don't know what is going to happen to her in Endgame, so we're not going to talk about it anymore. But what I will say is that Exiles issue number 3, that cover A, is an amazing homage to the Jim Lee X-Men 268 cover. We've got that Cap, that Black Widow, and Wolverine paying respect to the great.
Ripping it out of the hands of Marvel and going into something a little different here. Number 9, we have Marry Me number 1. Now, this comic came out in 2016. I think it's a 10-issue series. The interesting thing is this has just been optioned for a movie.
Right.
J-Lo is tied to it. The whole idea behind this...
It's going to be so good.
It is. So the idea behind this is you have a starlet who is sick of stardom, and she decides to marry some schlub in her audience holding a Marry Me sign. Owen Wilson is in talks for the guy that she gets married to. This is interesting because the Ashcan came out because of a webcomic that happened a decade ago.
Okay.
So there was a webcomic in 2007, 2008, 2009 that got turned into an Ashcan in 2009 that got turned into an actual comic in 2016 that's now being made into a movie. Are you following me?
It's a true first.
It's crazy, but yes, the true first was the web appearance, but if you can find this San Diego Comic-Con, they're on eBay for not very much. It is very much the same character. You can tell it's absolute. So the 2016 one right now is going for $10 to $20 for the regular one, but watch that Ashcan. That's a true first.
Coming to the list at number 8, we have Immortal Hulk, issue number 16, that Bennett 1 in 25 variant, the second print. Now, you remember that when this made press, that this was a variant already going to second print without actually hitting the stands first, kind of caused an uproar, but immediately after release was selling strong. This issue is going for $40 to $50 still.
Okay.
Now, I reviewed Immortal Hulk this last week. I reread that volume 1, trying to get a good understanding of just the hype that has lasted for almost an entire year now. Now, when Al Ewing actually wrote this out, I listened to a podcast about a year ago where he said that at the time of writing the first few issues, he already had clear out till issue 15 planned out in his head.
Okay.
He also said that he had never seen the television show. He also didn't have a lot to say about like Hulk influences. So I find it interesting that we are heading into issue 16. We have books that are been spiked for a long time. And we now know at that time that he wrote these new characters bringing him into this run. Well, up until issue 15, it was already planned out. So right now we're in new territory. So I find that interesting for speculation reasons.
And I think this is actually really interesting. Hearing that Al Ewing really didn't have a whole lot of background in Hulk, I think that's one of the reasons why this is such a refreshing take. I think that Bruce Banner has just been ignored for so long, and he's just been kind of the stepping stone that no one really cares about in Marvel Cinematic Universe or comic book universe or any of the above. It just was kind of a throwaway character, and this is just the reboot that Bruce Banner and Hulk needed. Absolutely.
Doesn't it make sense? Because you get somebody who's got to give it a completely fresh take.
Right.
And Hulk isn't known for having the greatest of storytelling over this last decade.
Right.
All right, what do we got at number 7?
Number 7, we have Ultimate Fallout for the Jurdovic 1 in 25 variant. 9/8 are just...
I know.
We thought Miles Morales was like at the end of this, and pretty much the last sale was $2,400 this week, up from $2,000 just a couple weeks ago. So we are still seeing stronger and stronger and stronger sales for this, 1 in 25 variant, and it's probably not going anywhere because it's a very popular character.
We got kids wearing Miles Morales shoes. I mean, this is a young, fresh, new character that is going to be on people's minds for a long time.
Yep.
All right, let's take a look at the list here at number 6. We have another kind of a surprise. I had to go out and get me a copy of Amber Blake number 1 to read because I looked at this. Number 2 making the list, we have the No Day 1 in 10 variant. This issue, from the success of number 1, already hitting $60 to upwards of $90 by day 2.
Buy it now is on Tuesday. We're $99 on eBay. Like the day before it's supposed to come out, the 1 in 10s were already selling for almost $100 on eBay.
Now, this story is actually translated from a foreign book that came out years ago. So the translation the text is a little clunky, and I've actually read a lot of reviews on this book, similar to the reviews on Unnatural, where they say, oh, the flow in the writing isn't quite there. Well, it's translated, so you got to give it a little bit there, be a little bit patient. But the storytelling's decent, but the artwork, that's where they're getting you. The artwork's fantastic.
Right.
And the writer, Jade Lagardier, she's a celebrity in her own right. Outside of writing comic books, she writes scripts. Her Instagram account has like over 700,000 followers. All right. So there's a lot of hype behind this comic book because there's been a lot of hype out of the country for quite some time.
Well, we have some Humanoids is a company that brings foreign comics. They bring the Jodorowsky stuff in all the time. They reprinted Valerian before the movie came out. Metal Hurlant, which turned into Heavy Metal here, they were all French comics before they came over here. The French way of storytelling, the French comic books, and the Italian way, there's a lot of European comics that when they get translated and brought in English, they're mind-blowing. The art is stunning. The stories are stunning, and it's very different feel than the superhero stuff that we get here. So a lot of the people that I know really enjoy foreign comic books, and this is just taking off because it is not something that we would expect to see on a Western domestic shelf in a normal store.
We're halfway through the video. We got some members of the community to give a shout out to, give them some kudos for going to their LCS, going hunting, shopping online, and finding comic books to add to their collection.
One of the first searchers this week was Pieface667, who got a Naomi 1 and 2, Hulk 377, the first appearance of Professor Hulk, and the left and right variants of Justice League of America number 20.
As Mailman 211 picked up a Hulk 377 as well. And he also picked up a couple copies of She-Hulk. Take a look at this She-Hulk number 1 graded by CBCS. I'm curious, what was the determining factor in going CBCS over CGC? And I want to kick this to the audience. Can you put in the comment section below, what is your determining factor when choosing grading companies?
The Adventures of Shy Guy found 4 copies of Hulk 377 out in the wild.
Oh my goodness, people really specking on that Professor Hulk. I don't want to know anything, Russell.
Collector's Den number 1, showing off the Naomi finds.
Oh my goodness, people still aggressively getting Naomi, but we got to keep it going. We can't stop. We got to talk about Witty Man number 1, who's showing off his 2 copies of first appearance of Master of Kung Fu. He's got multiple copies of Spectacular Spider-Man 101, 377, and he picked up that Iron Man 12. And I see that DC comic there, Lonely, first appearance of Ratcatcher and Detective 585. Let's jump back into the list at number 5.
Hey, Tom, looking at this list, you're really going to have to take these next couple books from me because I'm on the verge here, man.
Okay. Let's jump back into the list at number 5. We have Captain America issue number 25, making the list here twice. We have it at number 5, the 1 in 50 Adam Hughes variant. And then we have coming in at number 4, the standard A cover. Now, we're talking about both of these together at once because this is the first appearance of Sam Wilson as Cap. We've reported on this comic book more than one time over this last 7 months. This is a strong spec book. We know that we have characters that are entering Avengers Endgame, that their contracts are ending. So we've had speculation on Cap, on Thor, all year long. Well, Cap 25, the Adam Hughes variant, which was weeks ago was a $30 book, now going for above $100. All right. And then the standard A cover going for above 30. But we're going to go one step further because I'm going to take you now to number 3 on the list. We have Thor 390. This right here is a book that was a cheap dollar bin book for a long time. But in this book, it features the first appearance of Steve Rogers lifting Thor's hammer. This is a classic minor key that went unnoticed for quite some time. But because of spec, this book has shot up well past $50, has exceeded $60, and is hitting $75. Now, what's really interesting about this list, all these books that we're talking about are completely irrelevant right now because I personally don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. I'm purposefully not looking at Russ's eyes right now because I don't even want to see an expression. Okay, there you go. So he's checked out. So what I'm going to make sure to let the community know is that this is a little moment in time. This is like our special, This is a time where we can reflect. We can reflect on what it was like the day before Avengers Endgame, after 22 movies, over a decade of cinematic movies that have shaped the comic book industry like none other. And we can look at this hot list and look at the last few weeks and see where we all were, what we were thinking as collectors and as enthusiasts. So let's jump back into the list at number 2 because we haven't talked about Naomi enough.
I was thinking I really liked that popcorn, Tom, but you know what? Number 2, Naomi, number 1. This book cannot stay off this list. It's absolutely...
What is going on,
I have no idea. Did you see that someone tagged Bendis on Instagram and basically said, it's the cost of a flight from Los Angeles to San Francisco, about $120. And Bendis is like, oh, that's a pretty cheap flight. But my God, these books are $120 raw is what they're going for. That graded one that was almost $600. It might have even gone higher than that by this point in time. I'm not even looking at Naomi, but Tom and I wanted to do something different. So we went and looked at the print runs of Naomi. Naomi number 1, 25,252 books were shipped in January of this year. It was competing against Batman Who Laughs number 1.
Which everyone was focused on. That made the hot list that week.
It did. It had 120,000 copies made. The same time frame was Captain Marvel number 1. Conan the Barbarian number 1.
Which also was a poppin' book.
And then we have the new Guardians of the Galaxy. So you got Jason Aaron coming back and doing Conan. You've got the reboot of Guardians of the Galaxy with a new team. It's crazy. And then you have this little Naomi.
That no one knew.
The top 5 books were bangers. Every single one of them had print runs over 100,000. Number 84 on the list of books sold in January was Naomi number 1 with just over 25,000. To put that in perspective, it was right behind Spawn 293.
Let's take a look at the list here at number 1 because I am super stoked to be talking about a variant at number 1. Right?
Yeah.
Why not?
Actually, it's been a while, and the fact that it has something to do with Marvel but not anything to do with the actual Marvel movie.
Moon Knight, baby.
Oh, it's so good. So Marvel Comics presents number 4. This is Skinkevich 1 in 50 variant. This came out this last week. This is a hot variant. Marvel Presents is just not selling very well at my shop. A lot of the people I'm talking to, it's just kind of one of those, it's a team up book and you've got people hanging out and we had Marvel Presents years ago and there's just not that much buzz or that much hype about it. I bought 4 copies at my store and I think 2 of them are still sitting on the wall. So a 1 in 50 variant by someone that's an amazing artist. I'm just
the best Moon Knight artist.
Absolutely.
I mean, there are some Moon Knight grails that are out there that sell for staggering amounts. I'm thinking of that 2014 number 1 Sienkiewicz variant. That thing is a ghost variant. It's one of the coolest covers I've ever seen. There's that 200 remastered cover that was they had a 1 in 500 and a 1 in 1,000 black and white version. I mean, heck, Moon Knight number 1, which is also Bill Sienkiewicz, is also a really strong spec book. Bill's the man. There's a reason why I got them all back here.
Yes, absolutely. So 2 of these sold in the last week, pre-orders for about $300. Right now, you can see there are some buy it nows in the $500 range, and I saw one on auction that was only at $35 before we started recording, and I'm fairly certain by the time we release this tomorrow, it'll be closer to $300 or $400 because that book is just going up. We know there's a low print run.
Yeah, especially Moon Knight Sienkiewicz covers. They're known to spike, and when you see this cover on the screen, you're going to know why.
Yep.
All right. Shout out to some members of the community who won a few books last week.
Congratulations to Jason Ovian, who won a copy of Naomi #4.
And then we have Ivan Perez and Passive Texas, who are both going to be getting, courtesy of CBSI, a copy of the Honor and Curse #1 CBSI exclusive comic book. Very nice of them to do that, and congratulations to the winners.
That is so cool. If you are one of the winners, make sure you contact me at bagsandboardsgiveaway@gmail.com. I will get your address, and I will get those out to you as quickly as possible.
Thanks to CBSI, comicbookinvest.com, for providing the comic book community with this awesome list. And Russ, I have a giveaway here. We have a copy of Cap 25. I pulled this
Perfect
from my
timing.
back issue, Ben.
Yep.
I want to know your thoughts on grading, and if you do grade comics, what's that determining factor between a CGC and a CBCS for you? I want to know in the comment section below. It'll enter you to win this Cap 25. And, as always,
Geek responsibly.
enough said. Russ, in your opinion, is this not the most exciting mail call we have ever done?
We are prepping to do the absolute largest mail call we have ever done, and it's all because of Avengers Endgame.
That's right. I got multiple copies of Iron Man 55 going out. We got Warlock keys. We got Infinity Gauntlet goodness. And this isn't even scratching the surface of all the Avengers comics that we are sending out. Link is in the bio to sign up.
Absolutely crazy. Sign up by the 15th of the month.